Hey everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and you are here, I hope, for this episode 119 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play Brise, our brave paladin. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing all right tonight. It's almost a hat episode. That's why so surprised.
That's right. Episode 120 next week will be a hat episode. All of those that end in zero, we wear our fun little hats as a goof. And
Except on a leap year, which is this year. Damn it.
that's right. I hadn't even thought about it being a leap year. That does
Yeah.
not enter my radar very often. But I do want to apologize for last week. It was totally my fault. It was some crazy technical problem. My computer just crashed, and then about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the stream, and then it just booted over and over and over and over again. It took me like an hour and a half to get the thing back and working. So we hope to avoid that. I think that's our first like real bomb where we weren't able to warn people that we weren't going to be broadcasting, and that's not bad, I guess. 1 out of 119. So we're going to try to keep that rate right at that level. So so it's hello, Jenny.
Cool, Kevin. Welcome.
So we got a ton going on in the stream, which made it all the more painful that we had to miss one, because we are literally in an entirely new world.
Indeed.
So, Max, if you don't mind, why don't you talk about how we got here and then the things we've already seen?
Yeah. So Brise has been, our adventurer, Brise, has been attending a gathering to witness the arrival of this god like entity. I mean, it is a god for all we know. This creature named Obreve, which is appearing in this valley in Karandrin, in Brise's home world, and all these otherworldly beings are here to witness their arrival, which is apparently will happen within any time from now to the next couple of days. So here we kind of spent the last episode interacting with a lot of these different races and creatures. There's the finale, a scorpion kind of like people. They're often dressed in this metallic shining silk, which we learned that is actually they create like spiders and sew themselves into dresses. And I actually managed to ask one of them to sew a dress for me, which was kind of cool. Or I think they'll give me some fabric,
Right.
for which I can maybe share with my boyfriend Aldruff, which I'm sure he'd appreciate.
Right.
Who's a tailor. That's important to know. So here, I got you a bunch of fabric. It's like, what am I going to do with this? Let's see what else we went through. We heard about the Awan, who are the kind of the organizers of this whole operation. They're the ones building a lot of the stands, and are actually they're the ones who locate where Obreve is going to appear next. And so they've been here setting up tents and building stands and organizing all of the goings on here. And actually, I was able to ask one of them to take me to their home world, which you told me the name before the stream, Kevin.
Odisse.
Odisse, right? That's right. How could have Quinn joked Odie's nuts? Or no, that was Karen actually. Rare. Mix that up here, but anyway, yeah. So we actually ventured into their homeworld through a portal, and are currently just kind of taking it in, exploring a little bit. We obviously don't want to miss Obreve's arrival, but we also know it's supposed to take several days of passage once they do arrive, they'll be around for quite some time. So we're kind of just killing time now, exploring these other worlds. And what did we discover in Odis? We stepped right into this alien city with huge. We don't have the word for it in Karandrin, but essentially skyscrapers, right? These 20-story buildings, and yeah, a lot of interesting detail. There's skyways that people are walking on high up in the city. There's all these strange beasts of burden. One of them is like a creature made up of many tentacles that they kind of have to keep continuously batting at to like keep them from attacking or nipping at basically, yeah, other people's clothes.
Yeah, it's a big tentacled wheel that rolls and pulls loads.
Yeah.
Kind of like looks like the top of a sea anemone, and those tentacles will reach out and they'll take a bite. They'll take a little nibble of you. They don't have a lot of reach. They just
and in the last session with me reaching the docks of this city in the sea, and also seeing some of the ships with the rumored flying ships of the A1 and the Kinnebor, these kind of seal-like armored creatures that can be hooked to the ships to essentially pull them along, and they sail faster.
Yeah, they are massive. I mean, the size of small whales. I mean, maybe larger than a killer whale. So probably 30, 40 tons of these seals, and you see them in holding pens along the dock, and people are scrubbing them down, and they're prying leeches or other parasites out from between the plates of armor, and it's a whole thriving city called Kiakon here in this multiracial nation, or at least multiracial city. But it's and there's presumably dozens of nations and cities and thousands of people, and
a whole world to explore.
That's right. So
although I was thinking it would be funny if it's just like, our world is just an ocean and then just this one city.
It's just this way. That's all we've got.
That simplifies things.
That's right. In I don't know, I guess you would call it geopolitics and economics. There's a term called brain drain, which is your top talent going to larger economies, and so it'd be funny if like Karandrin is pulling people out of these other worlds, and they're just getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
and Karandrin's getting more and more populous.
That is crazy.
So,
although it would probably be the opposite. It'd be the A1 in their city. They're pulling everybody else because they are definitely a multicultural hub.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, you've got the Chidari here as well, which are they really are just these sort of little lizards. They sort of look like the Geico lizard, and
talk like it too.
Yeah, and they seem to be highly skilled in mechanisms and mechanics. They roll around in these hovering, it's a hovering little metal carriage with a chain that leads down to a rolling like hamster ball. And one of the other Chidari run along in the hamster ball and drives it along. Yeah, so you're at the docks. The sky here, as we mentioned, is a darker blue than what you're used to. The sun seems to be the same old sun.
Yeah.
The waters have a touch of purple to them, and that's right. Thanks, Obi-Wan. That's right. Karandrin points to anyone who gets the insurance company. I really do want us to do some Karandrin point stuff. Like one day, if we get successful, I'd love to have like merch. And we give away Karandrin points, and that would just be fun to do. Just give away Karandrin hats or bookmarks and things like that for to listeners. That would be fun.
Yeah.
So
All right. So yeah, here we are. So some of my plans were to oh, we need to watch out for any of the houses marked by a gray line, or any buildings marked with that line. They are
right.
part of
Right.
this. They're being punished for apparently breaking the law in some manner. And
Yeah.
if I walk in them, apparently I will be stuck there until the punishment ends. And I don't want to discover what that means.
Yeah, it's some form of clerical punishment that the clergy here impose,
Hmm.
and it causes pain and confusion, and you're basically trapped in within the bounds of these gray, what's called the gray marked areas, and you're supposed to avoid the gray marked areas because you will suffer the punishment, and you won't be allowed to leave. So. Um, So yeah, there's and you were told actually that it was a tavern, was there not? There was a tavern or two that had been
Yeah,
marked
out here. Yeah.
down here by the harbor.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I should just put I should put your
So I'm thinking about like Brice's kind of interest. She might be interested in finding some more about like the history and like art of the city. So I know there was that one sculpture we saw of Obreve. Is that in the distance or
yeah, that was on a point shooting out into the bay.
okay?
Standing
Probably
where
long.
you are, it's sort of across the water to your left.
Hmm.
Um, you know, so obviously, you can ask the way, but you got to be able to communicate, and that's the weird thing you've got going on here. Um,
Yes.
do you have your tome with the?
I believe that tome was incinerated.
Oh, that's right. You lost that
Texan,
tome.
yeah, yeah. Texan tongues. Oh, that was a great tome. Damn it. I had to fumble. You know, it's funny because the tomes that are useful, right? You cast from more often. So of course, those are the ones more at risk from.
Interesting. Yeah, you're right. Of course, that's the ones that suffer mishap.
Mm.
Although tomes are so easy compared to spells.
Don't
Um,
say that. That makes me feel who could ever fumble from a tome? I mean, come on.
Oh, it's
Jeez.
going to happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody. So, um,
Yeah, what else could I have for translating? They seem to kind of know. I have the Speech for All Peoples book, but that requires 60 hours of study. And I've not
yeah.
put in 1 hour to that. So that is not a something to start. I mean, I have the spectacles of sophistication if I can find writing, if I can ask someone to write it down,
Well, if
uh,
you have pen and paper, then you can at least communicate.
which I do. I have ink and quill and paper. So
Oh,
maybe the best bet is going into a tavern of some sort, one that's publicly accessible, and yeah, and maybe asking around that way. Because then there'll be
well,
people seated. I could, write it out for them.
there are A1 walking around, um, and you can see they carry on their belts those strange short squat stabs.
Mm,
Um, we sort of
true, the ones, yeah, to translate.
yeah that have the ability to translate. They're very very strange looking. Um,
Mm.
these fat ended stabs, and so you could seek them out deliberately to ask questions of.
Yeah, yeah. Let's find one that looks friendly as they.
Yeah, there's really there's
There's
so
one that's like smiling like happily, and it's like, "Don't talk to me." You can see I'm angry.
that's right.
Sorry, I couldn't tell.
Can't you tell that the fact that my eyes are sunken into my skull is
Right,
so the
right. I
A1
forgot.
species, they're like 7 to 8 feet high. They have these enormous, very broad, flat heads that almost seem, I mean, made out of clay. I mean, they're just gray blobs that are very round, and their mouths are just filled with just thousands of jagged teeth. I mean, it's just terrifying to look at, but they've been very civil thus far. Um, and they they are double thumbed with five, with 6 fingers, 5 fingers, and double thumbed.
Mhm.
Um, but you approach one. This individual takes a step back, looking at you, and regards you up and down, um, and just naturally reaches for his mouth staff, and as you know, it has that metal dome on top. He scratches at the dome, and it opens, and there's the mouth.
Yeah.
Because it's cobbled here, he can't jam it into the earth, but that doesn't seem to deter. He just sets it down, and you see roots grow from the bottom and grip into the
No.
cobbles.
Very cool.
Um, and in that gargled, strange voice of theirs, it says to you in um, facts, and it is a female. It gives it the intonation of a
Yeah.
female. Um, I guess the tone of a female. Um, what manner of beast are you?
Oh, well, I come from the world of Karandrin, where where the goddess Obreve is visiting currently.
You were from the other side. I meant no disrespect. Welcome.
Yeah. And I say, I'm wondering if you could help me with some directions in your city.
I am a newcomer myself. I arrived here from Bream last night. I don't know the city well.
Hmm.
But if Karandrin is going to be blessed by Obreve, then I feel obligated to help you. I will serve as translator if there is a local you wish to talk to. Sort of gestures around to anybody passing by.
Okay. Um, yeah, I wonder if there's you just pick someone. Well, actually, one of the clergy, right? Someone dressed in the robes of Obreve might be a better. They would have probably more knowledge of the city, right? So maybe I'll see if any of them are
Well,
passing by.
anybody working on the docks would probably know the way.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll find anyone who looks like they're.
There's Kexith,
Yeah. Okay.
who is moving barrels and stacking them. They're clearly, the Kexith are cyclopic. They're, one-eyed. They're, about 5 feet high, powerfully built. They've got tusks that come forward. Their skin is, sort of a ruddy Caucasian look. There's a pig-like sense to them.
That's sounds like a restaurant. Ruddy Caucasian.
The ruddy, that would be any Irish pub. That's any Irish pub. Um, um, so you guys approach this individual, um, and it stops to look at you, hands on hips, looks you both up and down. It's really studying you, of course.
Right.
Um, and
I'll go ahead, with my question. I don't want to be here all day telling them who I am, so I'll just say, do you know how to get to the statue of Obreve? Point to it in the distance, or directions to get to the statue.
Pilgrims' boats leave all the time down toward the other end of the wharf. Not very expensive. Else you have to take the Pilgrim's hike. But from here, I think that's been blocked off by the gray mark. So the boat's your best choice.
Okay. And I ask, well, I may not have money I may not have the right currency for hiring a boat. What kind of payment will they accept?
If you don't have Helm, then you'll find something they'll want, I'm sure.
All right.
So you guys turn away.
Could I also ask if, on that note, also, are there any other places of, how did you describe it? Like places of art, a gallery or any place like that?
The council chambers are in the center of town. Plenty to do all over that building. And there are finer homes up in the hills. Statuary, a lot of fountains, of course. The Awan love their fountains.
I guess I'd also ask, how do we get to the center of town? Is this the center of town, or is that what he means? Or
no, it's in the town of the inland somewhere.
Yeah.
He points, and there's a golden dome. As the land rises, you can clearly see it. There's, unless you're very much mistaken, it's 3 Chidari golden statues, not on top of the dome, but at the same level the dome starts on the building. Even with the base of the dome are 3 Chidari statues and very sort of grand poses, said you should find an eyeful there.
Okay.
Do you want to offer him anything as thanks?
I was going to say, yeah, I would love to thank him, but I'll give him a piece of silver. See if just thank you. Thanks for your directions.
He says, "You're welcome. This is valuable here too," he tells you.
Okay. He just this is valuable here too, eats it.
Right.
Delicious.
Inserts it in his eye. You're like, this is a strange.
Grinds it up and then starts.
right. Sniffs it.
Rubbing on his gums.
That's right. Oh, you have medicine. What?
Finally. Okay. Great.
So,
yeah, I think I'll check out the dome. Well, I guess I could always teleport back here. God, will teleport even work? It should. I've teleported in other worlds before, right?
have you?
Right.
Have you?
I don't think so. I don't think I've even ever really been fully in another world. Yeah.
We've talked a lot about it because you were trying to escape the clutches of Verilag, and so there was a
Right.
lot of discussion about the only real way to run from someone that powerful is to literally run to another world.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what's confusing us, you know?
Yeah. So it might be worth to find a little um, alleyway somewhere hidden and kind of give it a test. See if I can teleport, 5 or 10 feet. Make sure
Right.
where this is what Karandrin it does. It's like you have to question everything. Like, wait, but this could be different. Could be
It
different.
really, yeah. And that's something I wanted. I didn't like in these other games. The players would just take everything for granted. Like if you knew it was that type of creature, then you'd be like, oh, well, this is its weakness and this is its strengths and da 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 da. That it just gutted the sense of this being a real world, um, and easily graspable. And with Karandrin, I'm pleased to say we've undone that. Um, there is, you really can't take things for granted in this world. And that's what the Kex, that's a mistake for taking that coin, because it's the non-silver component of the coin that is now toxic to him, and he's screaming in agony. And
I
he's
just
fine.
walked briskly away. I don't know what's going on. I think he walked into the gray mark. I think.
Exactly. So,
All right. So I'll my companion from Bream. I'll thank them as well and part ways.
they give you a little bow, and he scratches the top of the mouth staff, and it closes shut. And so yeah, you find an alley.
One other thing I noticed, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but these birds, right, that are kind of atop some of these tall buildings.
Very large, yeah.
Yeah. Are any of them? I'm a little worried about Nalani, right? Are any of them just keeping an eye out every now and then? Do they seem to be attracted to her, or is Nalani worried about them?
Nalani is definitely tense. About the birds, but you're getting a vague concern from her about poison. That quite, I mean, there's you can feel it spike, and so you wonder if you kind of use her as a Geiger counter or a divining rod, if you can find out what it is that she's detecting as poisonous to her. It might be cruel to do that, obviously, because she's make her stress. But apparently, some substance that's very common in the city is toxic to her.
Okay. Well, I'll keep an eye out, like maybe a tune every minute or so, just to see if I can pinpoint what it is. Or I guess I could ask her, right? Give her a simple command. How would I kind of word that, right?
Circle
I could ask, like show me the poison.
Right.
Show me the poison.
That's right. I remember that movie. She leaps into the air. Lands on what looks to be, once you use your spectacles, it's definitely a tavern. And she lands on top of the tavern near the chimney. And there's a light smoke coming out of the chimney. And then she immediately hops down below that. And
interesting. Whatever they're burning in there. Okay. We'll keep that in mind. So let's continue then. Go look for the alleyway.
Find one. back alley, no one around. What would you like to do?
Let us try to do a teleport just 10 feet down the alleyway.
Okay. Are you using your
No, just use my PowerPoints just to
use your
a pure
PowerPoint?
teleport, yeah.
Okay.
And here's where I become a galactic, what do you call it? Wanted on the galactic order for disturbing the peace. 37.
No problem. Roll to aim.
41. Oops.
Not bad. A little further than you wanted, but not bad. The
Wait, Kevin, I'm doing a teleport. Whoa! Ah.
just you blink out and you blink back in. That's what you should do, right? Unplug your camera and plug it back in.
Whoa!
I'm back.
Oh my gosh.
So no problem.
Okay.
In fact, I mean, you didn't feel like that was like your best casting ever, but you feel very alert. Like that's normal disorientation passes very quickly. Because it's just the brain has a hard time understanding what just happened.
Yeah.
So you're the one who created it. It may be that magical elements of the confusion are simply less significant here.
Interesting. Okay. Oh wow. Now that is some interesting knowledge to share with people back in Karandrin. A lot of people would be interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be valuable. Roll for me.
20.
Yeah, I was. You can't think of a reason why it would be inherently true. Like if it's true everywhere, is that they use portals here so much that this travel is just easier here in the city specifically. Like it'd be interesting to see if it's true outside the city.
Right. And just normal 10 exhaustion, 10 power points.
Yep.
All righty. Okay, good to know. So I'll let's memorize like a spot in this alleyway that seems kind of unique and
okay.
Teleport back here later.
Okay. Add that to your list of teleport sites. Odis, Kiakon, back alley.
Coordinates.
The coordinates.
Longitude and latitude.
Near abortion clinic, back alley.
That's what the smell is. Oh my gosh.
That's the poison.
Okay, let's head away from the shore and make my way towards that golden dome.
Okay.
Towards the can't remember, the council chambers. Yeah, should be fun.
You're getting a lot of attention. To what degree do you want to avoid that?
So far it hasn't been negative so far. So
no.
Yeah, I think don't mind too much attention as long as people don't start like trailing me. If that starts to happen, then I'll maybe try to shake them.
Yeah. As it gets denser toward the center of town, you are absolutely being tailed. There is a group following you. People are then coming out to watch, to see what the tension is.
Oh boy.
Causing congestion in front of you. And you try to pull down and everything, and you are going to have to lose them if you're not going to be waylaid.
Okay, well let's try to just see if I can shake them. Yeah, by kind of taking a more complex path, take a couple side streets. I don't really want to use any magic or potions or anything if I can avoid it.
All right, roll to navigate.
That's a 9.
Well done. Um,
Why do they have so many dead ends in this city? Oh my god.
you successfully shake them, but you can no longer see the dome. You're in alleyways that are too steep. Um,
Okay.
but head down and hood drawn.
I'll just have Nalani fly up discreetly and see if she can reorient myself. Maybe see a path I could take out of here as well.
Up she goes. Right next to a big bird.
Oh boy.
The bird is eating some large eel. Carefully picking it apart, peeling back these long strands of black muscle, and then going after what are clearly sort of these organs and eating them first. The bird just looks lazily over at Nalani, gives her a little clicking hiss, like "stay away from my food,"
Yeah.
and then just turns back around. Nalani is quite startled, makes a big circle away, gets back on track, spots the dome, and you just direct her to keep flying. She doesn't want to. She's really uncomfortable flying so near one of these big birds.
I'll try to just encourage her a little bit, come on, Nalani, it's not clear they're not going to hurt you.
So, I mean, you could start just jogging to make the trip shorter.
Nalani, you're being falconist. You can't just
assume that,
but
we're not going to lose a horse every time we come across a large bird. And you better get used to these strange animals, because I'm buying one of those tentacled wheels. That's going to be my replacement.
Oh my god, just coming to Mia Girl's Keep with that thing. I'm sure you're just going to be like, what now? Oh my god.
Right. So you sort of let her do short hops, right? And you move at a quick pace so that she doesn't have to spend a lot of time in the air. And you're just sticking to alleyways most of the time. You come out eventually at smaller side streets. And now that your hood is drawn, they can tell that you're too tall for the Caxeth, and you're too short for an A1, but that's all they can tell.
Right.
And then you're passing very quickly through. So
good.
A lot of nicer homes start cropping up, nicer businesses. It's funny how that imitates itself from Karandrin, and you wind up on broad avenues. It's clearly you come out, and that must be a temple to Komat that you come out right out in front of. Komat is apparently this sort of square-headed form with 3 tails that come out from it. It looks sort of mechanical, as does Obrieve, right? Yeah. Something almost you would build.
Right. We should say Komat is the antithesis to Obrieve, right? The one who will end the world in some billion years or so.
Yeah,
although is not, they're not necessarily evil, right? They're actually just another force, just like Obrieve.
Right. They're they're a deity. I mean, they're worthy of respect and worship and so on. And um, um, so there is writing all over the temple.
Yeah, I'll put on my spectacles and give it a read.
So, I mean, if you had to guess, it seems to be passages from scripture or its common religious sayings. And it's things like the foundation of morality. Komat watches so that we live right. Without the end, why should there be a beginning? And so it is sort of, I mean, it's not like yin and yang. I wouldn't say that's correct, but there's clearly a role set out for Komat.
Yeah. Interesting.
There are a number of clerics gathered out front, having conversations. Nalani, I should say, is back on your shoulder.
Are they? I think are they dressed differently? I don't know if we've seen a cleric of Komat yet.
Their colors are different. They carry something that looks like a lantern, hangs from their side. They all seem to have that, hangs by a chain. And you see people going in and out. Some clearly carrying like bound offerings, like wrapped in fabric, things like this, either for discretion or for protection of the object within. Normal citizens coming and going out of it. You notice also, and this has never been something you would have ever thought of in other worlds, in your own world certainly. But there are about half of any sort of ramp up or any sort of elevation is steps, but there's lots of ramps, and that's clearly to accommodate the Chidari.
Yeah, because they're wheeled vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see them rolling in, and they apparently have wagon versions of their carriages. And so, sort of like basically hovering trays, and it's stacked quite high with goods. It's very stable. It's tied very tightly with this tiny form of netting, and it's bound very tightly. You can see how the netting cuts into the tarp that's on top of this. So this thing might be the size of a dinner tray or so, but it's stacked like 6 feet high. And so it just moves very evenly and just floats along. And there's a Chidari pulling it along behind, presumably, the owners of that offering, who are in their own little carriage. You can see the carriage is more finely decorated than others you've seen. There are actual little metal tassels that hang down, probably in precious metal. There seem to be gems along the top and bottom of the carriage.
Interesting. I missed. So is it it looks like a carriage for Chidari, or is it drawn by Chidari for someone else?
It is clearly an offering going to the temple, being
Oh, I
hauled by
see.
Chidari,
Hauled by. Okay.
but in front of that are Chidari owners. That seems they seem to be that load seems to be following a Chidari family.
Yeah. It's a
On the
carriage,
way,
with an offering coming along, right?
right. So this may be a servant who's responsible for hauling the um, the offering. And you have to wonder is the power being drawn through the carriage, and that's what allows him to pull such a mass?
Mm.
Is it the floating tray that helps propel it? Because it's just weird. How did these things work?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Brise would think, oh, it must be magic.
Sure, but where is the magic?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, now I'm at this temple here. Brise might pop in and try to herself to make an offering as well, being
Sure.
as religious as she is. So, if go ahead and take that little detour to do that. Probably just have 5 gold on hand to.
Sure.
Well, I don't know, because they said silver is valuable. I mean, it's valuable to me, right? So that's the offering I'm making. I guess that makes
Sure. You're the little drummer boy, right? All you have to offer is your drum.
right.
That's what's valuable to you. So,
Mhm.
I think
I didn't even know that's the story of the little drummer boy. Wow, thanks for educating me on that.
there you go. So if Quinn were here, I'm sure he would say, well, the thing that's most valuable to you is your life. So if you would just give your life to Komont.
That's the end of Karandrin, everybody. End of Brise's tale, at least.
That's right, because he decides I'm that religious and just kills yourself.
I got to it before any of the other creatures or sorcerers could. I killed myself. Eat that, Verilag.
Right.
Eat that, Crowlum.
So you attract a little attention as you walk in because you're actually approaching people, and they sort of have a chance to take you in and take the fact in that you're not one of them or one of the 3 species that seem to populate the area. But no one says anything. You pass in. It's very unusual here. So as you walk in, immediately it's this sort of dark chamber at the very front, and there, way above you, is sort of this block-headed representation of Komont. But then the tentacles or tails of it come down and form stairways that then become covered like tubes that go up. And there are symbols. There's writing above each passageway that goes up. The offering seems to be going up the rampway to the right. There are clerics coming and going from all 3. Other races with no offering seem to be going up the left.
I just put my glasses on. What does some of the writings say?
Wisdom is the left. Clerical business is the center. Offerings are the right. There's a very surreal but very peaceful music that plays. In the chamber, it is scented very, deliberately,
Right.
There are clergy who stand around at several locations, clearly sort of looking to offer help to anyone.
Mhm.
What would you like to do?
I'll follow the offerings and go up that way. Kind of just play along, right?
Sure.
Win in Rome, win in Odys,
That's
do as
right.
the Aegon do.
That's right. And the Chidari. And
And the Caxit.
um,
That's funny too, because Rome is also kind of a cultural hub, right? Of
oh,
other,
exactly.
or was, I guess still is. I don't know.
Certainly culturally. So I guess it's more of not a hub. I guess Rome now is a cultural mecca.
Yeah, Mecca is a good way to describe it.
Um,
You know, it is also a cultural mecca. Mecca. I'd say, is it still called Mecca, or is it like a modern name?
I think it's still called Mecca. They certainly still make the pilgrimage.
I feel like I've never seen it on a map. It's like it's actually there.
Yeah, Mecca and Medina.
Medina, right? Yeah, heard of that one.
Um, so yeah, you go up. Um, there are landings periodically. Um, yeah, you're sort of at a loss as to what to do next.
Is there anyone like I can follow that also has an offering? You know,
Sure, you can keep following that big load that Chidari are taking.
Yeah, I'll follow them. I'm actually curious to see what they do with that. So.
So you follow them in. They have detected you following and seem just take note of it, but aren't concerned. There are back windows to these carriages. And so, there's a group of 3 Chidari in this well-appointed carriage. And, they turn around periodically and just check you out and keep going. A cleric, Awan, stops them, and there's a discussion in the curious language that exists between these people, and they are guided into a chamber. They obviously stop and have a conversation about you, and they pause. The cleric walks back to you and speaks to you in a very curious language of garbled.
Hi, I am Brise.
Good job. That's the American way. Louder equals understood.
Me, Brise. You, inferior.
Mm-mm.
Never mind. Redact that. Never mind. Bad joke.
How'd you ruin your laptop? Well, I spit all over it because Max.
I mean, I just say in facts, and I'll hold out the gold. That 5 pieces of gold I was going to offer. Come to make an offering to Komat.
He or she listens carefully and then sort of in poor facts says offering in his garbled, gunky, clearly it is a male. And he gestures to the Chidari and says, would you want to join their offering?
I don't think Brise would have a problem with that. Sure.
I hate lizards. That's my main.
Yeah, I was thinking if it's like any religious, like, well, my offering is different from theirs, right? But it's all going to the same place,
It's like when you pitch in for a gift, or or rather you've forgotten to bring a gift and someone offers to just put your name on a gift,
Right.
or just,
Right.
or just sign a card because you forgot to get a card.
Right. Right. In the God's eyes, like, oh man, Brees, you gotta do
Right. That's just, I mean, Evelyn in the God's eyes, it's just terrible.
that.
So,
Come on, it's like Starbucks gift card. Oh my God.
what do I look like a mermaid? So if it were a mermaid god, you get Starbucks. That's the
Oh my gosh. That's actually really funny. Just a Starbucks, but it's just the weird square-headed god with three
that's
tentacles.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So so you're welcomed in, and there's an image of Comat, and it's there's basically a desk, very high desk for the A1, and there's behind that desk there's a curtain, and then there's sort of an altar, um, and um, and um, the Chidari speak in their. I don't think we've heard them speak before.
No.
They speak in a series of chirps.
Mm.
A little harsh on the ear, but not entirely unpleasant. Um, um, the A1 translates and says that they are very pleased that you, a stranger, would honor them with joining their family in making an offering.
Oh, okay.
And so he gestures to the altar. The Chidari get out of their carriage, climb down the thing very, very quickly. They dress in essentially robes that have a sort of a slit for their tail,
Mm.
but because apparently they crawl a lot of places, the the robes are sort of fit with a stretching material that keeps things clung to their body. So you can tell they have pouches and things like this, but none of them hang free.
Mm.
It would just get in the way of their hands as they're climbing. Um, so
Interesting.
they go up and they gesture for the wheel to come closer. It comes over the altar. They then sort of pull it down um, beside the altar. Then they begin unhooking it from the top and bottom
Wow.
and passing it down. They pass down um, what are straight out ingots of metal.
Wow.
Um, some of it is definitely iron. Some of it is definitely copper. The other
Okay.
metals you can't.
I'll pull out like 10 more pieces of gold. That's damn, dude.
But I mean, how heavy must that stuff be?
Then
Um,
who's hauling it down? The A1 or
no, the Chidari are passing it from
huh?
one to another.
Wow.
And they're dressed in like even I mean, yeah, they're it's uh they're dressed in finery. I mean, even from this view, that those tiny outfits, I mean, those are top notch clothes, those are top notch fabrics. Those are, that's expensive.
Right.
But this is, it's their offering, it's their job
Hmm.
to present it, you know.
Right.
Um, the they then go to the person in the carriage after they're done unloading. The person in the wheel, they gesture both of them out because there are two wheels. Um, they are dressed in plainer clothes, um, and so they come in and stand before this enormous pile, a 6 foot high pile of ingots, and the drivers, shall we call them, they pull out small offerings of basically a single coin that is the size of their body. I mean, well, it's almost the size of their body. You know,
Right.
it's oblong. At a glance, it does seem to be gold. They set those onto the altar as well. And so everyone sort of turns to you, hey, it's your turn. And what would you like to do?
All right. I'll pull out my five. So wait, how is the ingots of metal? Right. You said some seem to be iron. Were there
Some
others?
copper, and there are other metals you simply can't. There's
Okay.
one that's, I mean, you would say it's not even a metal. It looks like shell. It looks like an ingot of a seashell, almost milky translucent.
Hmm.
You're wondering if that's part of the substance that seals the buildings that you
Yeah.
saw.
Well, I mean, it's such a grand offering. Reese is pretty generous. I'll pull out another 10 pieces. We'll make it a large offering, 15 pieces of gold.
Okay.
Uh,
Um, you stack it up there, um, and and um, the lizard folk, they basically prostrate themselves before, they get down on their knees and then bow all the way to the ground. The
mm,
faces are on the ground. Um, and, the cleric waits
I'll,
respectfully behind you.
I'll do the same and kind of look over at them like sideways so I can make sure when to get up.
Right.
When we
Yeah,
take-
what you do is just blow real hard and roll them over. Um, so the A1 speaks in a language that apparently everyone around here can understand, and sort of intones some sort of ceremonial statement,
Mhm.
and then everyone gets up. You follow suit, and and he says, of course, you're welcome to enjoy the temple. Um, the libraries are open to all, as are the gardens. Um,
I already have a collection on Obreve I need to get through. Oh, you should see the collection on Coman. It's twice as big.
but you just find it ironic to go and steal books, even though you don't need any. Um,
Oh my
uh,
goodness.
so,
It is
yeah,
8:03. That might be a good time to take a break. We've
okay, yeah,
finished
we can
our offering.
do that. So, guys, yeah, we're gonna hop and stretch our legs and refill our drinks. We hope
Make
you
our own offerings.
and make our own offerings.
Offering in the toilet.
That's right. And so just stick with us for a few minutes, and we'll be right back with you. Hey, everybody, welcome back. We should get my buddy Max back on here because we love him. Oh, there he is.
Hey, oh, sorry, I meant to fix this during the break. This guy got out of the camera. Well, whatever. It's good enough. I changed. Man, I did get a new graphics card and move my monitors, and now everything's different.
Nah, that's funny.
I'd try to fix it after stream, but anyway,
Yeah,
we're back.
we are back.
Quinn
so
is back as well. Welcome, Quinn.
Oh, hey, Quinn. Yeah, so we the we're at the Temple of Komat in the city of Kiakan, in the whole new, brand new world of Odisse, which Brise is visiting via a portal from Karandrin. And what would you like to do now that your offering to Komat has been accepted?
We can check out the libraries. We'll explore the temple a little bit if he gave me leave to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ask, hey, point me the way to the library. He points you further down the hall and tells you then to go downstairs, first one to your left, and you follow his directions. That sort of eerie but comforting music is sort of all around the family or a group of Chidari, these little lizard people that also occupy this city. They board their little floating carriages and off they go. The what you notice is that the wealthy the affluently dressed Chidari change clothes with one of the drivers, and they take over driving.
Interesting.
And the other one scoots back up.
That's very unusual. Brise probably just assumed they are. I assumed too that they were just a servant, but
right. So you follow the directions. And you pass some Chidari making their way up a ramp. There are books being towed behind them. And you go down into the library. It's smaller than you hoped for. And not very well attended, which suits you fine if you're going to peruse things. You put on your spectacles, and there's an attendant there. And you sort of keep your head down and don't want to attract attention, but do you want to address the attendant and get some direction?
I'm sorry, I spaced out a little bit. So are we in the library now, or
you are smaller than you expected?
Yeah, I would ask the attendant, if there's any. I would like to get the attention of the attendant and then ask if there's any like organization. I'm not looking for anything in particular. Just where would I, how would I be able to find something if I'm looking for it?
He takes out a mouth staff, scratches the little metal surface, the little metal cap. It opens, revealing the mouth, and he places it on the ground, and he asks you in that gurgling way to repeat yourself, and you hear it in a fax form from the math staff.
Math staff. Yeah, I just asked same thing. How would I? Is there any system all the books are organized by?
Um, he says it's very loosely organized. Um, he points to the back wall. He says that's predominantly history.
Okay.
He says he knows that there are some botanical texts on a particular shelf that he points to, and he says that does include herb lore. And then there are personal accounts, memoirs, and such of the great clerics on that very first shelf, and it's a very popular section.
Oh, okay. I'll thank him and just kind of make my way to the history section, and just kind of want to peruse a couple books there and see if anything.
I'm sorry, which section?
His section on history.
Yeah.
And Quinn's making fun of me here. I'm not even going to read that. You bored me to sleep there, Marshall Monotone.
That's right. That was weird.
True facts. Right. I'll just read some of the history book. I'm not really looking for. I just know Brise likes history, right? So anything kind of that catches my eye,
right?
About the city or about the religion or history of other worlds, right?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Founding of Brelthorn is one that you find. Opening it up, it falls open immediately to like a map. And
okay.
Keacon is a city in the nation of Brelthorn.
Okay.
It's a country sort of on the top of a continent, sort of shaped like Morocco, if you know what Morocco looks like. Sort of it lies along the coast, and sort of is rounded at both ends, and what illustrations there are. I mean, it seems like this is predominantly a Chidari nation.
Interesting. Okay.
And so just flipping through it, like when there's a discussion of a battle or any sort of illustration, of a battle, the Chidari are simply masters at the mechanical. And they simply don't let their size stop them for slaying when it comes to slaying. There are these crazy arrow launchers that float, and there are these sort of long tubes, and the arrows are in multiple slots at the end of the tube.
My God.
And it shows like just an array of them, and all being hauled by spiked versions of their rolling balls.
Wow.
They have
another thing. Probably don't want this technology falling into the wrong hands on Karandrin.
Yeah, no kidding. They used what are called fire towers, which are these, I mean, sort of columns that go up, and they have chains that hang down from them, and the chains simply just burn, and they just spin.
Oh my God.
They spin the towers and then drag them into war, into the middle of troops. The battle scenes seem to indicate that this territory was Kexith and is no longer so.
Interesting.
Well, they were driven out, and it was conquered.
Wow. Does it have like a date for? I mean, obviously, I won't be able to understand it. I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, that won't help you. Yeah. References are, to hundreds of years ago, even in the last pages.
Okay.
The capital is Chinner, like Chinner.
Hmm.
And it apparently lies in the interior. And there's one other major city to the north, also a port. Called Haroo, Haroo.
Haru.
There are markings in the water off the coast of Haroo, and showing several locations that you have to assume is like areas where the Kinnabor can be found, because it's like little groupings of Kinnabor, some larger than others.
Oh, okay.
And so maybe it's grazing grounds for them, or maybe mating grounds for them. Yeah.
No, this made me think of I need to go find some A1 adventurers, right? They probably have like an equivalent.
I mean, there might be, yeah.
Profession, right? Yeah. 8 foot tall adventure. Oh my gosh. Very cool. Okay. I will ask the library attendant, point to like the picture in the book and like one of the maps, and I ask, are there other books with pictures? That'll be a little faster than having to read through a language.
The botanical texts, of course, have many illustrations in them.
I need the picture books, please.
I know, right? A pop-up would be particularly helpful.
Lots of colors.
He does recall that some of the great clerical memoirs, there were a good handful that were very heavily illustrated. One, he recalls, does depict one of the comings of Brise many, many years ago.
Okay.
And it's one of these things where he's got a question he wants to know now, so he actually makes
yeah.
And he's sort of searching through, and he shakes his head and says, "The text must be out."
Oh. Well, all right.
You're Matthew McConaughey. You cracked me up doing that. All right. All right.
I'm just copying that from someone else too. It all comes full circle.
That's right.
Did Fabrice ever show up? Is that me, Fabrice? I want a male version of Brise to be Fabrizio.
I was Obi-Wan Karen went to a ballet the other day, and I was reading the program of it, and I just felt so stupid because I never thought about ballerinas, of course, and a male ballerina is called a ballerino, and I'm like, oh.
That doesn't sound right. I'm sorry.
But I felt so stupid for not. Well, of course it is. It's all Latin and Italian, and of course it just has the gendered nouns, and I just felt so dumb that had
Yeah.
to come as a surprise to me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true.
Uh, so, you know, um, but yeah. So, what would you like to do now?
All right. Well, I think we'll
Yeah.
keep this library in mind, but let's continue on to the
Dome,
yeah, to the what do they call it? The order
the council chambers.
council chambers. That's what it was.
And you recall that they told you if you want to buy property, you have to register
That is right.
with the council.
I should be able to live here. I mean, honestly, it's funny like how I don't know, I guess like other cities like Convergence aren't, too lawless either, but it does feel very like peaceful here. I don't know, there's a lot of cooperation and just kind of general
It
um
is interesting, yeah. The
like the way
Brise,
people are punished, right? It's just like it's this ordained amount of time. It's this like self-contained, seems
right.
very,
And there does seem to be a positive influence from this sort of like you get special treatment um, if you're a follower of a Breve, or if you at
right,
least accept a Breve, you know.
right.
Um, so yeah, you find your way to the exit. Um, um, Along the way, you stop in a lone Chidari being pulled along is um, stops you. Um,
I don't see how they're gonna stop me. They're a
they
couple, they're a couple of
open the carriage door and they actually wave you down as you're approaching.
okay.
Um, and um, they speak in a series of chirps to you.
I say back in thanks. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Have a translator, possibly.
And I believe the answer is yes. He scurries back into the cabin of the carriage and comes out with the it's a, no, it's a child molesting wizards there.
Just step into my tiny carriage.
That's right.
How old are you?
He it comes back, and I should say he. It's really they. We don't know what it is, but um, he takes a red gem and works it in his ear, and then gestures to you and points.
All right, I'll go ahead and do that. Stick that thing in my ear.
Um, and it turns out that Quinn is right, and it was just a Werther's original. And you just stuck candy right in your ear.
Delicious. This sounds very good. This candy.
Obi-Wan, you gotta text Josh and let him know you used his favorite line.
Beneath my robes.
That's from it's from A Christmas Carol, the original novel, and it's something that Ghost of Christmas Present says actually in the novella.
Yes.
And it's just and it's just the most delightfully scandalous line in A Christmas Carol. Look beneath my robe, and then he says, "Look at these." And of course, that's fantastic. So
my eyes are up here.
So you hear in a language you understand, although which it just seems to switch language. Like it doesn't have the right frequency because you hear multiple languages at the same time, but you can make out the squeaking voice and says, "I'm not sure. Does it work? Does it work on his kind? I'm not sure." And
you're muted. Can you turn up your volume?
That's right. I'm getting too much gain on the back end, Bobby. Can you turn it down? Oh.
I nod and say, "Can you understand me?"
Yes, yes, I can. Yes, yes.
Hey, Breezy, do you like movies about gladiators? I love that. I'm gonna go
Never,
back to the main cabin. No, you can stay here. It's fine.
that's right. You ever seen a grown man naked? That whole movie, so great. I have a drinking problem. That's so great. He throws the water at his forehead. Um, that guy went on to do nothing else. But
I
oh,
know. I watched that like semi recently. I'm like, I don't recognize most of these people. I feel like, but it's just different era of actors.
um, you're a strange one. You are. You're a strange one. What are you? What are you?
Well, I say I'm from. Um, I kind of repeat what I said before, right? I'm from the world of Karandrin, where Obreve is uh, projected to visit soon.
Oh, you're one of those, are you? You're one of those. Are you a
Yeah.
believer?
I kind of ask of Comad or Obreve or of both.
Assumedly, if you believed in one, you believe in both.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good question. I guess Brise would say, maintaining her faith to her pantheon, right? Well, no, I guess right. The idea is like I don't disbelieve in any gods, though my pantheon is of a different kind back home.
Oh, we all have our favorites. Yes, yes, we all have our favorites. What are you doing here?
Oh, I'd say I'm fascinated by this world. It's so different than my own, and can learn so much from it.
Well, I'll tell you now. I'll tell you what my business is, and you can make of it what you'd like. Hmm? And that is, I am in the business of making Hellum. Hellum by the pound if I can, by the ton if the gods are willing. And I will give you 100 Hellum if you can tell me anything about your world where I might turn a profit.
Okay. Um, munitions. um,
That's right.
let's
Well,
start
you
an
know your
entire like.
arrow throwers, if you could sell those, especially to the goblins, and that's it. You single-handedly wreck Karandrin's geopolitical
Wipe
stability.
out all the great eagles, which then throws the whole ecosystem out of balance.
That's right. Can you make these arrow throwers so the shoulder-mounted for great eagles?
Oh my god. I have to not to distract too much, but Quinn says that the actor was in a short-lived TV adaptation of Starman, as in the song by Ziggy Stardust.
Oh no.
Oh
You
no,
may.
Kevin's cutting out, or I'm cutting out. Who's cutting out? I'm still here. I can see myself on the video, so I guess we'll wait for Kevin to reconnect. And he was also in the film Cat's Eye. Interesting. Stephen King short stories. How long is a Stephen King short story? Probably like 300 pages. A sci-fi film in the 80s. All right. Well, there you go. Yeah, we've lost Kevin. Hang in there, everybody. Let's see what could we tell this lizard about? Gosh, we're both gone. There we go.
Man, I am sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was bad. You went out, and then I was chatting with the audience, and then I cut out, and then there was just nothing for a while. But we're back now. It sounds like.
Yeah, man, that was really strange. Um, yeah, I heard you were reading off um, the filmography of the actor who was the main star
Right.
of the airplane. What was his name? Quinn. What was the actor's name?
Um, yeah, so I was thinking of a way to turn a profit for there. So there, yeah, I know. I say that I've seen that your kind are very handy with mechanical, constructs. There's many a need for clever locks and um, you know mechanisms that kind of like reference the. I guess you wouldn't understand what the dwarves are, but right there's certain
Another
cultures.
people.
Yeah, and other people that really are craftsmen of your kind that I think you would be able to trade with very well.
Well then, you have served me well. Yes, you have. Well, as promised, and he pulls out a bag, and clearly is a bag of holding, even though it's smaller than your pocket.
Wow.
And he sort of deals out, like someone sliding out tile, these oval gold coins. Um, and he counts out 100, and those coins are apparently called Helm.
Mm-hmm. Helm coins. All right, I will add that to my. So I've got mithril, gold, silver, bronze, copper, and Helm now.
He asks you some follow-up questions, like
Wow.
the names and like the various races. Helm, yeah, and like what languages they speak and things like that, names of rulers that he should address and be
Yeah.
aware of, and a few major cities. And then and he thanks you and off he goes. And of course he gets his little earbud back from you.
Little entrepreneur, yeah.
Yeah. So um, so you continue out
Yeah. Continue on my way.
to the city street. It'd be funny to go up to the city council and find out that it's been gray marked. Like wow, this whole
Right, right.
corrupt.
Uh-oh. Yeah, no, he seemed like an honest businessman. I guess I can't really tell, right, just from that conversation, but all his questions are at least um,
Yeah,
generic in terms of from my perspective.
you had a weird positive sense about him. I went rolled your intuitive feeling
Yeah.
on him. And he's ambitious, definitely.
Damn, we missed a good joke though. I should have said, car insurance. That would be
Carriage
50%
insurance.
or more.
That is hilarious. Oh man.
That's all right.
The carriage return on your investment is terrific. So you make your way down, and the road leads straight up to the council chamber. But
Perfect.
in the street itself, there are homes that are set back. There are businesses that are set back, allowing wagons and things to pull through, including full-size carriages for the Awan and Kexeth, who are wealthy. Here you see entire carriages made of that sort of milky, translucent material.
Wow.
And metal has been sort of sunk in to them, like posts for wheels and axles, the spring leaves for shock absorbance, and the so it's a in the for the shock absorbers for the carriages. The you see Awan and Kexeth, coming and going from these businesses. A lot of rugs, like large and very fine rugs, seem to be a big household item, at least among the wealthy. You see a wagon being loaded with these enormous rugs and tapestries. But like there's frieze work on a lot of the buildings, which is that area, in between the peak of the roof, that area, and then the wrap around it. And so, very skilled work. There are forest scenes, and they have something here that is very much like a dragon, apparently. Whether it's just mythological or not is a question, but it is a dragon, long-necked, fierce head, full-bodied with wings and so on. The legs seem much more pronounced and powerful than others that you've seen on or depicted in Karandrin. The feet, the claws themselves, the actual, I guess, really feet. They seem to be larger, just much fiercer and stronger in the limbs. And there's depictions of them in the frieze work of burning towers down or being fought off, in one instance by this striking Kexeth figure, taking the brunt of what is some sort of gaseous breath against what is clearly a shield that he holds. But the work is really well done.
Yeah. And is this at the council chambers?
This is on the way.
This is the building on the way. Wow.
Yeah, are several buildings on the way where you're seeing various either family stories, mythological stories, historical events. It's without context, it's just impossible to tell.
Right. That's actually his uncle, and after waking up in the morning, and that's his breath. It's like, oh, okay, that's a lot less impressive. Yeah, it's all a joke, exactly.
That's right.
Huh.
It's like the the graffiti they find in Rome and Pompeii and things like that. And it's so weird. It's like you can go to the Pompeii website and you can find all of the graffiti, pictures of all of the graffiti discovered to date. And that is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, can I just put it out there, please, for the non-archaeologist? Would you provide some damn translations?
Oh, it's just like there. They don't have the.
It's just a picture, and they give it the archaeological label, like its catalog number, if you will. And that's great, and I understand all that's necessary. But for the interested layman, guys, and speaking as an editor who cares about an audience, for the love of God, give us a translation for each of those. I was so fascinated to find it, and then so sad that my ignorance prevented me from enjoying it further. So
it's a very fair ignorance, because how many people know Latin and have the time to learn Latin? Oh my gosh.
But I was so fascinated to see that. So roll for me.
4.
Well done.
Nice.
Well done.
Luckily, this has not been combat or anything, because these have been some pretty
dismal rolls. Yeah. A 9. Yeah.
I think the highest roll I had was like a 47 for a teleport. Like, well, all right.
Right. That's better than you usually do for a dangerous spell.
Hey, jeez.
So yeah, you go through and um, it does seem to be um, predominantly these three races. It doesn't seem to be you're missing any in this region.
Yeah.
Although there do seem to be some cultural differences or historical differences in some dress and garb.
Yeah.
Like the Chessex you've seen are all bald. But there are some Chessex depicted and they have top knots.
Are Chessex, are those the turtle people?
Oh, sorry. Kexith. Sorry.
Kexith, yeah. Kexith. That's a weird
one. Yeah.
Kexithai.
I've been resisting
to pluralize that.
Saying Chessex is one of the major dice companies. And I have been resisting confusing those two words all stream. And I finally did.
Well, it's almost 9 o'clock, so that explains it. I guess it's actually a different time where you are, though.
Yes, but so you do reach the council chamber. There are more Chidari on the far side of the dome. You can see that you couldn't see from the other side.
Yeah. That explains that this is a Chidari predominant city. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Oh.
So shall we end it there with you at the council chambers?
Yeah, if you think it's a good stopping point, we can pick up next time with popping inside and seeing what cool art they have there to look at. So
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks, guys, for joining us again. I apologize for the for our missed episode last week. That was just a total technical blindside that we couldn't do anything about, and so we're gonna keep trying to do our extreme reliability. We're gonna, barring my headaches, which at least try to warn you about. That technical one was a fluke, and so hopefully it won't happen again. So, but thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it as always. If you think we're doing a good job, hey, hop the donor box and send us a little love. You should always go to Max's YouTube channel where he discusses the role of music in video games, and listen to his sonorous voice give you a very interesting insight into that. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art that we use for Brise almost every session. And I've written a novel that you can find on Amazon called A Shore Too Far. Please check it out. Max, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Yeah, thanks for showing up and tuning in. Oh, this was a fun session. Not a lot of conflict, but just some cool, interesting, interactions in another completely alien world. So if you want to see more of that, then come back next week. And,
that's right. Next Wednesday. Thanks, guys, for everything. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.